The Galactic Council chamber was larger than any human city. Its ceiling stretched so high that it disappeared into blue light. Strange symbols glowed across the walls. Massive alien leaders sat in floating seats arranged in a circle. At the very center of the chamber stood one small human, Ambassador Daniel Hayes. No weapons, no armor, no guards. Just a dark suit and calm eyes. Every alien in the room was larger than him. Some were covered in scales, some had 4 arms, some had eyes that glowed like fire. One species did not even breathe oxygen. They ruled systems older than Earth's sun. And today, they had summoned humanity, not as equals, but as a curiosity. A low murmur filled the chamber. So this is a human. They are smaller than our young. They evolved on a death world, yet look so fragile. The alien commander of the Carthun Empire leaned forward, his metallic claws scratched against his throne. "We have reviewed your request for equal standing in the council," he said, voice echoing through the chamber. His large yellow eyes narrowed. "And we are confused." Soft laughter spread across the room. "You are a young species," the commander continued. "You have no ancient empire, no great galactic wars, no conquered systems." Another tall alien spoke, its voice smooth and cold. "Your planet has 1 moon, 1 star, limited resources. You nearly destroyed yourselves before reaching space." More laughter. One alien projected an image of Earth rotating slowly. "So much water," it mocked, "so unstable, storms, quakes, ice ages." "You barely survived your own world," another added. The chamber echoed with amusement. But the human did not react. Ambassador Hayes stood still. His hands were calmly folded behind his back. His face showed no anger, no fear, no embarrassment. That silence slowly became uncomfortable. The Carthun commander tilted his head. "Do you have something to say, human?" The ambassador finally spoke. His voice was steady, clear. "Yes." The chamber quieted slightly. "Have you ever studied Earth's history?" The question caused confusion. Some aliens exchanged looks. History? Why would history matter? The commander let out a deep sound, almost a growl. "We have reviewed your military capacity. Your fleet is small. Your territory is limited. That is what matters." The human shook his head slowly. "No, that is not what matters." The lights in the chamber dimmed without warning. A hologram flickered to life behind the ambassador. Several guards tensed. "Relax," the ambassador said calmly. "It is only information." The first image appeared. Earth. But it not the peaceful blue planet seen in alien records. This Earth was violent. Massive storms swirling across oceans, lightning striking endlessly, volcanoes erupting like open wounds. The laughter stopped. The ambassador began walking slowly in a circle. "You see a small species," he said quietly. "You see a young civilization." The hologram shifted. Ice covering continents, asteroids striking oceans, creatures with sharp teeth hunting in darkness. "You think we are weak because we are new." Another image appeared. Early humans standing against predators, fire burning in their hands. "You think we are harmless because we have not conquered you." The chamber was silent now. No one laughed. The commander watched carefully. The human stopped walking. He looked directly at the alien leaders. "We did not rise in comfort," he said. "We rose in survival." The hologram changed again, and this time the images became darker. The chamber lights dimmed even more.
And for the first time, the alien council began to understand something was wrong, very wrong. Cut to black. The hologram filled the chamber with moving light. Earth rotated slowly in the air, but it was not calm. Dark clouds covered half the planet. Lightning flashed across entire oceans. Winds spun in circles so large they could swallow continents. The alien leaders watched in silence. "This is your home?" one asked quietly. "Yes, this is where we were born." The hologram zoomed in. A massive hurricane struck a coastline. Waves as tall as buildings crashed into cities. Ships were thrown like toys. Homes disappeared underwater. Another image replaced it. The ground split open during an earthquake. Towers collapsed. Roads cracked apart. People ran through dust and smoke. "Our planet did not protect us," the ambassador said calmly. "It tested us." The hologram changed again. A volcano exploded, sending fire and ash into the sky. Lava swallowed forests. Entire regions turned black. Several alien leaders shifted uncomfortably. One of them leaned forward. "Your world is unstable." "Yes," the human answered. Another image appeared, an endless white landscape, ice stretching beyond the horizon. "Your planet froze?" an alien asked. "Yes, more than once." The hologram showed ancient humans wrapped in animal skins, walking through snowstorms, hunting for survival. Then it shifted again. Burning heat, dry land cracked under the sun, crops failed, animals died. "We faced ice," Hayes said. "We faced fire." The chamber was completely silent now. Then came the oceans. Massive waves, tsunamis crashing into cities without warning. "Your oceans attack you too?" one alien asked. "Every year," Hayes replied. The hologram zoomed deeper into Earth's forests. Large predators appeared, creatures with sharp teeth and powerful claws. "Before we built cities, we were hunted." The image showed early humans standing together, holding spears. "They were not the strongest, they were not the fastest." A giant predator charged. The humans did not run. They stood together. Fire burned between them and the beast. They survived because they adapted. The hologram shifted again, and this time microscopic images appeared. Viruses, bacteria, invisible enemies. "Your world infects you?" an alien asked in disbelief. "Yes," Hayes answered. Images of hospitals filled the air, doctors working through the night, cities locked down, graves being dug. "Millions died," Hayes said quietly, "but we learned." The image changed. Scientists in labs, vaccines being created, humanity fighting back against something too small to see. One alien finally spoke what many were thinking. "Your world tries to erase you." Hayes nodded once. "Yes." He stepped closer to the center of the chamber. "You see weakness when you look at us, but we were shaped by storms." The hologram replayed hurricanes, shaped by earthquakes. The ground cracked again in the image. Shaped by predators. The beast fell before united humans. Shaped by disease. The microscopic enemies faded. "We did not rise in peace," Hayes said. "We rose in danger." The chamber lights brightened slightly. The alien leaders looked at one another. They had grown on stable worlds, perfect climates, controlled environments, no world-ending storms, no endless natural disasters. Earth was not a paradise. It was a battlefield, and the humans had survived it. The Carthun commander spoke slowly. "You evolved on a hostile planet." "Yes," Hayes replied. The commander's voice lowered. "And you are still alive." The human met his gaze. Yes. The hologram slowly faded, but the feeling in the chamber did not. For the first time, the aliens were not amused. They were thinking. Because a species that survives a world trying to kill it might become something far more dangerous once it leaves that world. The silence in the chamber grew heavier, and the next images were already loading.
The hologram flickered again. The peaceful images of nature disappeared. Now the chamber was filled with smoke, dark skies, burning cities. The alien leaders watched as explosions lit up the battlefield. Metal machines rolled across broken land. Aircraft screamed through the air. Fire covered entire streets. Ambassador Hayes stood still as the images moved around him. "Before we ever reached the stars," he said calmly, "we fought ourselves." The hologram zoomed in. Soldiers running through mud, buildings collapsing, families hiding underground. "This was not one small conflict," Hayes continued. "This happened across our entire planet." The Carthon commander leaned forward. "You went to war with your own species?" "Yes." Another explosion filled the chamber with red light. "These were called world wars," Hayes said, "because the whole world burned." The aliens watched massive armies clash, weapons fired without mercy, cities turned to rubble. "You had no outside enemy?" one alien asked. "No," Hayes replied. "You did this to yourselves?" Silence filled the chamber. Then the hologram changed again. A bright flash, brighter than the sun. A mushroom-shaped cloud rose into the sky. The chamber lighting adjusted automatically. "What is that weapon?" an alien demanded. "A nuclear bomb," Hayes answered. The image showed a city disappearing in seconds, buildings flattened, shadows burned into walls. "You used planetary destruction weapons on your own kind?" another alien asked, disbelief in its voice. "Yes." The commander's claws tightened against his throne. "You destroyed your own planet." Hayes shook his head slightly. "We almost did." The hologram shifted again. Cold War tensions, missiles ready to launch, leaders with hands hovering over buttons. "For decades," Hayes said, "we lived knowing we could end ourselves at any moment." The aliens grew uneasy. On most advanced worlds, war ended long before space travel. On Earth, it had nearly ended everything. "But you are still here," one alien whispered. "Yes." The images began to change. The smoke cleared. Ruined cities slowly rebuilt. Workers lifting steel beams. Bridges rising again. Children playing where battlefields once stood. "How?" the commander asked quietly. Hayes looked at the rebuilding skyline in the hologram. "Because we learned." The image showed former enemies shaking hands, nations forming alliances, scientific cooperation across borders. "We realized something," Hayes continued. "If we continued fighting ourselves, we would not survive long enough to reach the stars." The aliens watched modern cities glow at night, airplanes crossing skies peacefully, satellites orbiting Earth. "You survived yourselves?" one alien whispered again. "Yes." The chamber felt colder now, because surviving storms was one thing, surviving predators was impressive, but surviving your own hatred? That was different. The hologram showed humans launching rockets into space, the same species that had almost destroyed its world, now leaving it. The Carthon commander studied the human carefully. "You fight fiercely," he said slowly. "Yes." "You build weapons capable of extinction." "Yes." "And yet you chose not to end yourselves." Hayes nodded once. "Yes." The commander leaned back. That answer disturbed him more than the wars, because any species can destroy, but a species that can step back from the edge of extinction, a species that can rebuild after global self-destruction, a species that can turn enemies into allies, that is not unstable. That is resilient. The hologram faded. The smoke of war was gone. The storms were gone. Now the image showed something different. A small spacecraft rising through blue sky. Fire beneath it. Hope inside it. Human astronauts floated in space, small figures drifting above their planet. The alien leaders watched carefully. "Was this after your wars?" one asked quietly. "Yes," Ambassador Hayes replied. The hologram zoomed out. Earth became smaller. Then another image appeared. A red planet. Dry, cold, empty. Mars. Human habitat stood on its surface like small silver domes. "You colonized another world," the Carthun commander said slowly. "Yes." The image changed again. Large ships leaving the solar system, engines glowing, stars stretching ahead. "We are not feared because we conquer," Hayes said calmly. "We are feared because we endure." He stepped forward into the center of the chamber. The holograms circled around him. "You have empires built on easy worlds." The alien leaders shifted slightly. "Stable climates, gentle seasons, predictable ecosystems." Another image appeared. Earth during a violent storm, then Earth during war, then Earth rebuilding again. "We built ours on a planet that tried to erase us." The commander was no longer smiling. His eyes focused on the data flowing beside the hologram. Extreme climate shifts, mass extinction events, global wars, nuclear near destruction, pandemics, recovery, scientific breakthroughs, unity treaties. The information moved rapidly. The Alien Council processed everything at high speed. Finally, the commander spoke. "You should not exist." The words were not an insult, they were a fact. Hayes did not react. "Statistically," the commander continued, "your species should have gone extinct multiple times." "Yes," Hayes said, "but we did not." The chamber grew colder. The aliens reviewed another projection, human technological growth over time, from stone tools to metal weapons, to electricity, to computers, to space travel, in a very short cosmic time. One alien scientist spoke carefully. "Your rate of adaptation is abnormal." Hayes looked at it. "We had practice." A few council members shifted uncomfortably. If humans had survived all of that before even meeting the galaxy, what would they become with galactic technology? What would happen if a species trained by disaster gained access to advanced weapons? What if a people shaped by survival learned interstellar warfare? The thought spread across the chamber like a quiet alarm. The commander looked directly at Hayes. "You are not strong because you dominate," he said slowly. "No," Hayes agreed. "You are strong because you refuse to disappear." "Yes." Silence filled the chamber. For the first time since the meeting began, no one laughed, no one mocked, no one whispered. They were calculating. The alien empires had grown in peace. They had evolved without constant extinction threats. They had never needed to fight their own planet. Humans had, and they were still standing. The hologram faded. Only the human ambassador remained in the center of the great chamber, small, unarmed, calm. And now the alien leaders understood something deeply unsettling. If humans could survive their own worst nature, then no external enemy would ever truly break them. The silence in the chamber was no longer mocking, it was cautious, because any species that can survive itself is not weak and may never be conquered. The chamber remained silent. Then the final hologram appeared. The smoke of war was gone, the storms were gone. Now the image showed something different. A small spacecraft rising through blue sky, fire beneath it, hope inside it. Human astronauts floated in space, small figures drifting above their planet. The alien leaders watched carefully. "Was this after your wars?" one asked quietly. "Yes," Ambassador Hayes replied. The hologram zoomed out. Earth became smaller. Then another image appeared. A red planet, dry, cold, empty. Mars. Human habitat stood on its surface like small silver domes. "You colonized another world," the Carthun commander said slowly. "Yes." The image changed again. Large ships leaving the solar system, engines glowing, stars stretching ahead. "We are not feared because we conquer," Hayes said calmly. "We are feared because we endure." He stepped forward into the center of the chamber. The holograms circled around him. "You have empires built on easy worlds." The alien leader shifted slightly. "Stable climates, gentle seasons, predictable ecosystems." Another image appeared. Earth during a violent storm, then Earth during war, then Earth rebuilding again. "We built ours on a planet that tried to erase us." The commander was no longer smiling. His eyes focused on the data flowing beside the hologram. Extreme climate shifts, mass extinction events, global wars, nuclear near destruction, pandemics, recovery, scientific breakthroughs, unity treaties. The information moved rapidly. The Alien Council processed everything at high speed. Finally, the commander spoke. "You should not exist." The words were not an insult, they were a fact. Hayes did not react. "Statistically," the commander continued, "your species should have gone extinct multiple times." "Yes," Hayes said, "but we did not." The chamber grew colder. The aliens reviewed another projection: human technological growth over time, from stone tools to metal.
The chamber remained silent for several long seconds. No one laughed now. No one whispered. The alien commander slowly rose from his throne. The sound of metal claws touching the floor echoed across the massive hall. All eyes turned toward him. His voice, once filled with amusement, had changed. "You were not forged in peace," he said. The human ambassador stood calmly in the center. "No," he answered. The commander studied him carefully. "You were forged in crisis." "Yes." The words felt heavy in the air. The commander looked around at the other alien leaders. Many of them were still reviewing the data. Storms, wars, recovery, growth. Finally, the commander straightened his tall frame. Then something unexpected happened. He lowered his head slightly. It was not submission, it was respect. A gesture rarely shown to another species. A quiet signal passed through the chamber. The other council members followed. Some nodded, some lowered their eyes. The mood had completely changed. The commander raised one claw. "The vote will proceed," he announced. A series of lights appeared above each council seat. One by one they turned green. Green for acceptance, green for equality, green for recognition. Not a single red light appeared. The final result glowed above the chamber. Earth would not be threatened. Earth would not be controlled. Earth would stand as an equal power in the Galactic Council. A species once mocked, now acknowledged. The commander looked at Ambassador Hayes one last time. "You requested recognition," he said. "You have earned it." Hayes nodded politely. "Thank you." There was no celebration in his voice, no pride, just calm understanding. Because this was not victory through force, it was victory through truth. The holograms were gone now. Only reality remained. The human turned and began walking toward the exit of the chamber. His footsteps were soft against the polished floor. Behind him, the alien leaders watched quietly. As he reached the massive doors, a small voice spoke. It came from a younger alien delegate seated near the back. "Human," the young alien called out. Hayes stopped but did not turn around. "Yes?" The chamber listened closely. "Why show us this?" the young alien asked. "Why reveal your weaknesses, your near extinction, your past mistakes?" The question hung in the air. Slowly, Hayes turned his head just enough to be heard clearly. "Because you didn't fear us," he said calmly. A pause. The chamber felt still. "Now you understand why you should." The doors opened.
Bright light from the outer corridor spilled into the chamber. For a brief moment, the human silhouette stood between light and shadow. Small, alone, but no longer underestimated. Then he walked forward. The doors closed behind him. Inside the chamber, the alien commander remained standing. He spoke quietly to the council. Monitor Earth carefully. Not with hostility, not with hatred, but with caution. Because they had just realized something important. Humanity did not need to conquer the galaxy to be dangerous. They only needed to survive it. Fade to black.